Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, a community gathers in Dalton, Minnesota to honor the life of the assistant fire chief. We're learning what led up to a standoff at a Fargo hotel, plus why local bars and clubs are under scrutiny. Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
It's a lot. I mean, you look around and you see all these trucks from way off Dwight, North Dakota. I mean, we've never worked with them once. Here they are. So,
Pretty special.
Right, very special.
Good evening, everyone. Dalton Assistant Fire Chief Jason Kirschner was laid to rest today, and fire departments from across Minnesota and North Dakota traveled to honor and celebrate Kirschner's life and service to his community. Kirschner died early Sunday morning after hitting a deer while riding an ATV. Valley News Team's J.C. Dodd was there today as the small town was filled with dozens of fire trucks and firefighters.
34 fire departments from across Minnesota and North Dakota traveled to Dalton this afternoon to honor and pay their respects to Jason Kirschner's family, friends, and fire department.
And tragic for the firefighting community and a small town like Dalton.
Underwood Fire Chief Artie Johansson says the small town volunteer fire department has never experienced such a tragic loss of an active duty firefighter like this, and says over the past week, in typical small town fashion, the community and surrounding areas have stepped up to help the Kirschner family.
We're all coming together to mourn the loss of Jason and to, celebrate what he's done for the community.
Kirschner was a volunteer firefighter for Dalton for 18 years, and several people agreed no matter what, he was always committed to serving his community.
If he said he was going to do something, he was going to do it and get it done for you.
Anytime you asked him to help, he would be right there. When we have a mutual aid call with Dalton and they'd come and help, you could always count on him.
Underwood volunteer firefighter Chris Mark says it's amazing to see the fire community show their support, in awe of how many traveled long distances to be there today.
I mean, we've never worked with them once. Here they are. So,
Pretty special.
Right, very special.
In Dalton, J.C. Dodd, Valley News Live.
Kirschner leaves behind a long-term girlfriend and 2 small children. You're taking a live look now at the Clay County Fair. This is day 2 of the 4-day event. A lot of fun activities for the family. Tomorrow's Demolition Derby getting a lot of attention. And if you plan on going out, what can you expect? Nathan has a first look for you. Nathan?
Thanks, Stacy. Yeah, if you're going out to the fair this evening, especially in Clay County, things looking very quiet, which is not what we saw in Grand Forks County yesterday. Look at these rainfall totals we saw reported to us. You can see 6 inches reported near Larimore, 6.5 inches 6 miles east of McCanna. And then some other locations near Larimore and McCanna saw near 5 inches of rainfall. So it was a couple of very intense cells that were dropping a lot of rainfall in a very small amount of space. And that's where we saw the flash flooding. Brenda uploaded this from north of Larimore to valleynewslive.com, showing that because that ground is just so dry, that water had nowhere really to go. So it just ran off and caused some roads to be washed out there north of Larimore. Things much quieter across the region on satellite and radar. Still seeing a few little rain showers at this time, not severe near the Ellendale area outside of Edgeley in southern Stutsman County. So some much needed rainfall has been falling in these areas, but the haze will be a factor for us both tonight, Stacy, and through the weekend it's looking like. So we'll talk about that weekend forecast and talk about a heat wave next week in a couple minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Nathan. New at 6 tonight, a man with outstanding felony warrants is behind bars following a high-speed chase. This morning, a Norman County deputy on patrol spotted a man violating the hands-free cell phone law just north of Ada. When the deputy attempted to pull him over, the driver took off. The deputy continued to chase after the driver on highways until the driver took a turn into a cornfield where the deputy lost sight of him. A perimeter was set up around that field while they were looking for him. Law enforcement received a tip about the location of the man, identified as Jacob Eiton of Gardner, North Dakota. He was arrested. Eiton has outstanding warrants in Cass County. A Fargo man is hoping for healing and closure as this weekend marks the 40th anniversary of a historic building collapse that left his father Henry dead and his mother Pat badly injured. That happened at the Hyatt Hotel in Kansas City after 2 skywalks came crashing down, killing 114 and injuring more than 200 others.
My mom could remember it all. She remembered hearing the pop, when everything separated. She remembers falling. She remembers being under the debris.
Before moving to Kansas City, the family lived in Moorhead, and after the collapse, they came back to Minnesota to settle down near the Twin Cities. This weekend will be the first time that man and his siblings have ever been back to the hotel, as well as the memorial recently built to honor and remember those killed. A man from Valley City is arrested after being accused of luring a minor from Jamestown, leading to a sexual assault. Investigators say Timothy Radke was sending sexually explicit messages to the juvenile starting in May of this year. The victim was allegedly sexually assaulted by Radke at least once. He was arrested in Valley City on suspicion of sex-related charges, including gross sexual imposition. He's in the Stutzman County Jail awaiting formal charges. We're learning more about the standoff between Fargo police and a man that took place at a hotel yesterday morning. Court documents say police were called for a disturbance, then a man who was running around the hallways yelling and breaking things. When police knocked on the suspect's door, they could hear a man's voice yelling like he was arguing with someone. Officers say Kevin Brushwine went to the door with a knife and was threatening him. He then locked himself in his room and was later arrested by the Red River SWAT team. Documents say officers found meth and a marijuana pipe in the room. His next court date has not been set. The search continues for the man accused of murdering his wife in Pennington County. Eric Reinbold is suspected of killing his wife Lisette last Friday. He's described as 5'7", 175 pounds, and is balding with sandy brown hair. The sheriff's office believes he is in the area and he's on foot. They're asking you to check your properties for any missing items or signs that someone has been there. Investigators held a press conference this afternoon. They say they've gotten dozens of tips and they're working to follow up on those leads.
But I can guarantee you, we're going to continue to look until he's found. We are not giving up.
Reinbold is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, call 911. There's a $10,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. Bars and clubs in Fargo have come under more scrutiny after several incidents that have taken place late at night. Recent examples come from the Old Broadway, where video was taken of a fight while a security guard at the Africa nightclub was shot and killed in late May. The Africa nightclub had their liquor license suspended by Fargo City Commissioners back on July 1st, and Commissioner Tony Gehrig says other bars should be looked at as well. He also says these issues can be fixed.
So I think that's why we're having this broader discussion now. I don't think it's out of hand. I don't think it's something we can't fix, or that it's something that's way worse than it was when I was in college, which was a long time ago. But, I think that we've made improvements in some areas and we've kind of fallen back in others. And, holding these establishments accountable is going to be very important in remedying the problem.
City commissioners will meet again on July 26th. New North Dakota laws go into effect August 1st. Mothers can legally breastfeed in public without having to do so discreetly. Citizens can stand their ground and use whatever force necessary to protect themselves and their home. Alcohol will be allowed to be served much earlier on Sunday mornings, and state officials may not mandate face coverings. Signatures can now be collected to place term limits on state politicians. Secretary of State Al Jaeger has approved the petition for circulation. Supporters now have 1 year to collect more than 31,000 signatures to get the issue on the ballot next year. The petition seeks to place a limit of 2 terms for the governor, lieutenant governor, and state House and Senate members. It would not, however, be retroactive. Supporters say they hope it'll increase the number of legislative candidates.
See, right now, there's very little incentive for people to line themselves up to run, because if somebody's been in there 20, 30 years, they're seen as pretty much a shoe-in, and everybody kind of waits to see what they would decide to do.
Supporters include 7 sitting lawmakers, some of whom have already surpassed 2 terms. State lawmakers overwhelmingly rejected a term limits proposal during the last session. Barring any extreme weather changes, the city of Dilworth will be spraying for mosquitoes next week. That'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday at 8 p.m. During that time, it's best to be indoors. Shut the windows, bring outdoor pet food and water bowls inside. Rural landowners who are posting their property electronically for hunters this year have another option that may make the process even easier. QR Post, a North Dakota-based company, creates custom codes and signs. When hunters want to access posted land, they scan the code with their phone. That takes them to a personal request form, and the landowner can approve or decline.
Now I don't have to be the awkward guy knocking when they could be eating dinner. Do they eat dinner at 5 o'clock, 6:30? Is it a late night at 8? We don't want to annoy people. Just the simplicity of text messages, and we kind of immerse ourselves with cell phones nowadays, that hopefully it is a game changer.
Several landowners in the Dakotas and Minnesota have already signed up. To find out more, go to qrpost.com. Later on Valley News Live at 6, hear from a person who's a conversion therapy survivor and what Governor Walz's executive order means to him personally.
And if you've got a tea time for your Saturday, things look pretty good all day long. Those tea times in the morning, those middle 60s for the 7 a.m. tea time, warming to those upper 80s, lower 90s for those afternoon tea times. But we'll break down your full weekend forecast after the break.